And Prince Harry has deviously claimed before that there was enough material for him to write a second spiteful book. And according to a royal source, this veiled threat has not been forgotten by the firm. Now, they told GB News presenter Camilla Tominey in the Daily Telegraph there's not a lot of trust left to allow the family to maintain a good and open relationship. How do you speak openly without it ending up in Volume 2? But should they actually be fearing a memoir from Meghan Markle? Indeed, Camilla writes that if this were to happen and the Duchess is minded to finally name the royal racist, then all hell will likely break loose again. So, Angela, they've just lost this $20 million Spotify deal. I'm told that Netflix want to pull the plug on their $100 million TV deal as quickly as they can. So there's a real risk now for the royal family, isn't there, that the poisoned pen is going to be pulled out for Meghan's memoir?
I think they're going to outsmart the memoir because actually the way she's been attacked by so many of American people who are involved in, the sort of all sorts of people who help her get success, then, she's lost all her credibility. And I think that they will, one, not listen to it. People won't believe it because she's got a reputation for telling untruths or exaggerating hugely, so it doesn't make any sense. And I think that would just make it as bad as it is. I don't think it will move it backwards in any way because they're used to it now. They see that the public, not just here but in America and around other countries, are saying that she's not talented, she's no good, she has told lies. She's even, a lot among black people, they say that she's using them for her own aid.
Well, I heard Trevor Phillips say that this week, which was an extraordinary intervention from the former Equalities Commission.
Yes, she said she had to learn how to be black, because she wasn't until she got married, until she met the royal family. And he was very much against her and how she's behaved. And I think, there'll be a lot of sales because people will want to know what she said. But I think it will be a disaster.
You think her days of causing damage to the royal family are over?
How many times can you hit them? You see, you could see at the coronation that they ignored Harry. He wasn't popular. They just got on with it. But people are laughing. There's crowds coming when Charles or Catherine or William go anywhere. They don't need them, and that must be very, very painful. So they want to up the action, but it's too late.
Now, look, after growing reports that Netflix would follow Spotify in cutting these ties with Harry and Meghan, a spokesperson for the streaming platform said our exciting journey with them isn't ending anytime soon. That's what I call a bit of a fudge because clearly they're under pressure to try and back Harry and Meghan publicly. They haven't announced the couple's plans, though. However, in the works is apparently a feminist retelling of Miss Havisham, the iconic character from Charles Dickens' Great Expectations. And speaking to the Daily Mail, an English professor and Dickens expert warned the Duke and Duchess against going woke with the famous tale, as it will end up, quote, being a voyeuristic misery. But, Angela, that's exactly what they're planning to do. This is a woke version of Great Expectations. Yes. That's exactly what it's going to be.
She's going to turn Miss Havisham into a feminist.
Royal biographer Angela Levin has once again aimed sharp criticism at Meghan Markle, this time making one of her boldest claims yet. In a recent interview, Levin declared that Meghan has lost all her credibility and now carries a reputation for telling untruths. This wasn't a passing comment. It was a direct challenge to Meghan's honesty, character, and the image she has worked so hard to project. Levin's comments have reignited public debate, with some agreeing wholeheartedly and others dismissing the remarks as another example of media bias. Levin argued that over the past few years, Meghan's public statements, whether in interviews, speeches, or documentaries, have frequently been met with fact checks and pushback. From the Oprah Winfrey sit-down to the Netflix series, Levin claims that certain claims made by Meghan have been disputed or contradicted by credible sources. This repeated pattern, Levin says, has chipped away at Meghan's public trustworthiness. According to her, credibility is a fragile thing in the public sphere. Once it's gone, it's nearly impossible to get back. Levin didn't stop at the credibility issue. She went further, accusing Meghan of developing a reputation among journalists, royal aides, and insiders for telling untruths. This, Levin suggested, is not just a media perception. It's something that has quietly become common knowledge in certain circles.
And the difficulty she has living in a men's are more important than women. I mean, it's got no chance. The original film of that in 1946 has outshone everything, and there's been 2 or 3 other ones, and they've all been absolutely hit at by the critics. And this is an absurd way of doing something, because it's been shown before recently on the BBC, and you can't keep on doing this. I mean, she's doing the thing
that was the woke version, and everyone hated it. But you can't change Dickens like that. You can't sort of put this woman. I don't think either of them have got the ability to do that. They're not knowledgeable enough. They're not literary people that take a Miss Havisham who sat looking at her wedding cake for decades, back to when she was a young woman and how she was fighting against the men. This is what Meghan likes. You know, she likes saying that everybody against women, when in fact, I mean, she's done phenomenally well because nobody's been against her, i.e. her husband let her run wild. And it's again, a nonsense. They pick up things that Netflix have cancelled, and I think this is another one. They haven't agreed to it yet. No.
But it's going to be...
Well, they haven't agreed to any of them.
They haven't, but it's going to be rubbish, isn't it? You can tell that.
Well, if it even
You've got to be...
I don't think it's even going to happen, Angela, because Netflix is so wary now of this whole go woke, go broke phenomenon.
Yeah.
And I think it sounds utterly awful, and they won't want to waste tens of millions of dollars on an awful project.
The other thing is that if she's going to be... behind the camera, which has said they're going to do that now, no one be slightly interested, because, you know, the directors and producers aren't the ones who get people, you know, standing in the street and shouting and cheering them. You know, she's got no experience to do that, no delicacy, no insight. It's just not there. So it's a waste of time and money.
And what's been fascinating this week is you've actually seen Prince William doing all of the social justice and the public service, which is, of course, what Harry and Meghan promised that they would be able to do when they cut free of the royal family. We've seen none of it from them. Virtually no public service, virtually no social justice. What do you make of Prince William's project to end homelessness within 5 years? Because lots of folk, Angela, are saying, look, this is bold, it's daring, it's audacious. Some concerns, though, that maybe it does wade a little bit into the area of politics?
Yes, and I think those are anti-monarchy people who say that. I mean, this is something that he really wants to do. He says it's his life work. Catherine has her life work about dealing with young families and young children.
Early childhood,
And both of them actually have homelessness in the things that they want to cover. So they can work very well together but not tread on each other's feet. And he's really wanted to do this. I mean, I remember when I was talking to Prince Harry when I was writing his biography, and he said to me, no one in our family wants to be king. But somebody's got to. But William's always telling me he feels he needs to make a difference. He doesn't want to cut ribbons. He doesn't want to come and go in 5 minutes. He really wants to make a difference. Well, here is a difference. He can really do something, not because he's got 3 huge places to live in and he's got umpteen £100,000,000 to live on, but because he really cares about people and he can understand it. And also he can bring people together. So he can bring all sorts of people together to discuss it and to help. He's not going to try and, you know, take over politics in any way.
No, indeed. But what's so ironic, Angela, is it's exactly the sort of project that Prince Harry could have been doing, but instead he's been wasting his time not doing anything for Netflix. Angela Levin, royal biographer, thank you so much.
Okay.
In her view, this perception makes it very difficult for Meghan to win over skeptics, no matter how polished her future PR efforts might be. Levin pointed out that Meghan's credibility problem doesn't just affect her, it spills over onto Prince Harry as well. The couple's public narrative about their time in the royal family relies heavily on the public believing their shared accounts. When one half of that partnership is accused of bending the truth, Levin says, it naturally casts doubt over both of their claims. This, she argues, could undermine their long-term influence in the media, activism, and even their commercial ventures. The reaction to Levin's comments has been predictably polarized. Critics of Meghan see her statements as confirmation of long-held suspicions, pointing to moments where Meghan's words didn't match up with facts presented by others. Supporters, however, accuse Levin of pushing an agenda and targeting Meghan unfairly. Regardless of which side people fall on, the fact remains that Meghan's public image continues to be one of the most divisive in modern royal history. At the time of Levin's comments, Meghan had not issued any public response. Whether she chooses to address the accusations or ignore them altogether remains to be seen. But for Levin, the point is clear: regaining public trust would require a dramatic shift in both behavior and approach, something she's not convinced Meghan is willing to do.